Hey, everybody. I'm Rebecca from Thieving on Our Farm,
And I'm Leo with Southern Biphiliac Urban Farm.
and we are two Chicks Coturnix bringing you the scoop
Not poop.
on Coturnix Quail. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I picked up a little cold over the holidays, so I'm a little stuffy,
And I'm
but
just cold.
yeah, you've had a cold front come through. We did too, but you're not used to getting cold fronts so
Nope,
much.
not at all. I need a heat plate.
Yeah. Leah sent me a picture earlier today and she was all bundled up, like really, really bundled up. I
Yeah.
mean, like it was 27 degrees outside, and I'm like walking around with my Crocs and just a sweater, and I'm like, oh, it's cold outside. And like you were what, twice that, and you're like bundled up,
I
like
think we had a high of like 48 or
looked
something.
like you were in the Arctic.
It's the wind chill, I tell you. The wind chill and the humidity. That's what gets you.
Okay. My real feel was 21 degrees, and I'm just like, la di da. You're like, you have more clothes on than I did.
I can't help it.
So, speaking of winter, we wanted to talk to you guys today about a year in the life of a quail breeder. Since we're about to start a new year, we thought
Yes.
this would be a good time.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, so a year in the life because the whole season of it, the seasonality of it
Yeah,
is interesting.
and this is it's something that a lot of new people getting into the quail business struggle with is the seasonality of quail.
Yeah, and I mean, I know both of us have learned a lot along
Oh
the
yeah,
way. So
still.
much. Yeah. Still learning, still tweaking things, still making them better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's still a work in progress for both of us, but we thought we'd kind of share a little bit of our experience, and maybe it'll help some of you guys a little bit too.
Yeah, hopefully it will.
So, Leah, let's talk about winter first. Since we're in winter, let's go January through December.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, so January, I mean, we're gonna actually be starting to ship here in a few short weeks.
Yep.
But this time of year, like I know for me, we're still hatching, out some of our stock, getting, the last of our old breeders flipped over, just doing a lot of cleanup and doing things to try to make the new year more streamlined.
Hmm.
So that's pretty much our focus right now.
So let's break this down a little bit. We actually just did an episode on, about winter and stuff like that, what we were doing this time of year. But for those of you that have not watched this, let's maybe talk about like what are you doing with your breeders right now? You mentioned that you're kind of swapping them out. What does that mean?
Yeah, so breeders, like it's really good to replace them at the hens, especially at least every year, just to keep your egg production up.
Hmm.
They start to lose a lot of that when they're getting pushed through a whole season like they are. um, Males we replace more often, but you really want to replace them once a year if you're doing something similar to what we are.
Hmm. Yeah, if you're just keeping them for meat and eggs and stuff like that, it's not as big of a deal. But if you're doing like we are and wanting to get the most out of your fertility, making sure that your fertility is high for other people hatching out your eggs, it is a good idea to replace breeders annually. So we have already started that.
Yep,
Um,
started in the fall.
Yep. So, but yeah, this is the time when I have my brooders full. I'm growing everybody out. I'm selecting my breeders. And I don't
This
know
is
about
actually
you.
the most chicks I have all year.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Me
Yeah.
too. I am putting every hatchable egg, like every egg that has passed my standards for putting into the incubator. yeah, I'm trying to do that and hatch as many out as possible because we have kind of a short window to hatch.
Yeah, it's very short. I mean, we've only got what 6 to 8 like really good weeks to get the bulk of it done,
Yep.
and yeah,
And what we mean by that is here really soon, like, okay, back in the fall, we were still finishing up our orders. So eggs were going into orders. And then both of us shut down shipping over the holidays
yep,
because,
multiple factors for that.
yeah,
Multiple.
delays, packages getting lost, all kinds of stuff. But it also gives us time to replace our breeders. We need those eggs. We can't send them
And
out.
try to take a breath.
Yeah, that too. Oh my gosh, it felt so good not to be shipping all the time.
Yes.
But then because we are going to start shipping again real soon, we have a pretty narrow window to hatch out as many as we can to replace those breeders. And for you and I, we're so selective about what actually goes into a breeding
Yeah,
cage.
it's a very, very small percentage on what actually gets held back.
Exactly. So we have to hatch out way more, than, like let's say I only needed, and this is just an example because I need way more than this, but let's just say I needed 10 birds. I'm probably going to set at least 60 eggs to try to get those 10 birds.
And then half of those are going to be males.
Yeah.
We should just refer to the Quail math
Yeah.
one here. So
Agreed.
if you haven't seen the Quail math episode, I do suggest that you look into it.
Yep. So, and then in our cases, because, sometimes we are dealing with a little bit higher numbers of breeders for certain lines, that's a lot. You
Yeah,
know, so
it's
I
a lot.
I remember when I first started out, I would keep, a couple dozen of a certain line. And now I'm looking at trying to have, like 500 of certain lines this year.
Yeah, the task as things have grown, like it gets more daunting because
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And so trying to hatch out that many eggs to replace that many breeders and then not only replace your breeders, but also expand and grow. That's, one of my big things that happened this past year is I didn't plan well enough. Or, I planned, but
yeah, I wouldn't say it wasn't planning.
yeah,
You don't always know what people are going to want and what
exactly.
you know.
I didn't predict well enough. Let's put
Yeah,
it that way. I
we don't
planned.
have the magic 8 ball. Like
Yes.
I wish we did. It would make
I
life so much easier.
I planned, but I greatly underestimated exactly what I would need for breeders. And then I kind of got into a pickle. So it's like I had all these orders that were backing up because I didn't have enough breeders, but do I stop filling orders long enough for me to set a whole bunch of eggs to make more breeders, or do I just try to keep pushing through and fill those orders and go this fall I'll put in, I'll set more eggs for myself and have more breeders.
Right.
And unfortunately, I chose to try to just push through. And probably what I should have done is just paused everything, set for myself, and took care of myself, take care of myself first. But I didn't do that. And so I learned that lesson.
And
It was a hard.
I did do a shift. So
That's good.
I did end up hatching but I did that for Florida reasons, which we'll get into later.
Okay.
I'll just say Florida reasons.
So, here we are right now. We're scrambling to try to hatch out as many as we can, but, incubator space and brooder space is limiting. Also, cage space. It's really hard to have existing breeders and need their eggs, but also try to figure out where you're going to put the new ones while you're still getting eggs from your existing ones.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. It's so hard.
Right.
And
you
also,
don't want to just, take away the old breeders just yet because you need to make sure the new ones are laying and they're laying good
yes.
eggs and yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't start shipping out eggs the moment they start laying them. I got to give them time to get up to size and make sure there's no surprises and,
Yep, to
get good
make sure the
fertility.
rooster's doing his job. Yeah,
Exactly. So that's the other thing of trying to figure out where I'm going to put old breeders and new breeders all at the same time.
right. It's a juggle.
Hopefully, we're not convincing people to not be quail breeders. That's
I
that's
know
not my intention
it is
here.
so much fun.
But honestly, this helped me hearing from some of my mentors about their struggles, going, okay, so it's not just me. Like, they're trying to figure these things out too. Uh,
Right.
and so I like to talk about some of the things that we've encountered and some of our struggles because, one, if somebody can learn from my mistakes, if I say I made this mistake, I would have done it this way, differently had I known, then maybe somebody else can not make that mistake later. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I would love to see people not make as many mistakes
Yes.
for sure.
And I know for me, it always made me feel better when I heard my mentor made mistakes.
Yes. Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
I'm,
agreed.
it's like, oh, okay, that person isn't perfect. They made mistakes too. And so I can give myself a little bit of a break.
Yes. We're all human, and that's yeah. We're gonna make errors. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all a learning experience.
Yes.
Okay, so we're replacing our breeders. Um, I am, let's see, I am also making sure that my shipping supplies are ready.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, we've cleaned up our whole shipping area, reorganized it, try to make it all more streamlined.
Yep,
Hopefully,
yep,
things will move a little bit faster.
exactly. I'm doing that. I'm going through my inventory because I sell a bunch of items and stuff. I'm making sure that my items are up to date. And that if I'm going to need some more, that those are ordered. Um, and then another thing that I've been doing is setting eggs when I can, because most of these are going for breeders, but I'm also trying to set eggs for spring live bird sales.
Yes.
So it's a lot of juggling right now.
It is. And even though it's like the off season, yeah, there's still a lot happening behind the scenes.
Did you do air quotes with that?
I did.
Off season. Is there really such a thing?
No,
It's
it
off
never
season for
ends.
shipping, but not for
There,
being a
yeah,
quail breeder.
exactly. Yeah, yep. What you
So, but this is a time when a lot of people get out of the quail business.
yes. Um, it definitely is a time where I see people step away. I see people step away generally twice during the year, or at least if it's maybe more seasonally like that here in Florida. But I see people step away late summer
Hmm.
and then again in the winter.
Yep. And it's hard. This is something when we talk about spring is when the money's coming in and it's easy to go, woohoo! I'm gonna expand and I'm gonna go big and all this stuff. And it's easy to spend all that spring money and then not have money in the winter for doing that, replacing your supplies and all those things that may cost a little bit of money when you're not making money. That's hard.
Right, right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely. And then some people, when they go through that spring and it's their first time, I think they feel like that's what's going to happen all year.
Yep.
And it's not like that
No.
at all.
No. even
Not one bit.
even if you weren't like us, because there are some people that keep shipping over the holidays, even if you still ship during the holidays, those sales aren't coming in. It's
Right.
just it's a slow time no matter what. And so you have to plan for that if this is something, I mean, it's different if this is just a little hobby and you just paying for feed. Okay. We're talking about kind of a bigger scale here. Um, a lot of people in the spring, they get super excited. They buy lots of equipment and they go gung ho and all this stuff. And I love seeing the enthusiasm.
Yeah, the excitement is a lot of fun.
Yes.
It really is.
But then they don't realize that it is seasonal and you're going to have to like bank money to pay for that feed later on in the fall in the winter.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, what you make in the spring, you should look at as utilizing for the entire year in a sense,
exactly.
not the whole year.
Okay, so we've talked about restocking breeders and checking our supplies and stuff. What else? What else are you doing in the winter?
So, we always set goals for the new year. I'm
Mm.
not a big person on like setting New Year's resolutions. I don't believe in them. That's just me.
Right.
But goals, I set goals throughout the year, but we kind of set our big ones usually, in January.
And what kind of goals are you looking at? What are goals for you?
Things mostly that I just want to work towards in the new year. Maybe
Mhm.
different avenues that I want to go down, different projects I want to work on. Just so I write those down and kind of keep them, where I can see them, so that during the busy season, which I'm sure we're going to get to here shortly, I don't forget about those other things that I'm hoping to work towards.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Um, gosh, the busy season.
I know my anxiety already started yesterday.
Yesterday. Oh gosh. Mine, yeah. I think I still have anxiety from spring. I think I have PTSD from last spring. Okay, let's talk about spring. Since we're already on that.
And here's the thing with spring, I swear it keeps starting earlier,
That's the problem.
but it doesn't. Like spring technically is what, March 21st, if you wanted to
Well,
get super
yeah,
technical
this
about
is true.
it earthwise. But yeah, I swear every year it starts like yesterday.
Yeah, not the season itself, not the temperature or anything, but the orders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I know when I first started, like you said, March, mid-March was like when you started seeing an uptick, a major uptick in orders.
Right.
And it's like overnight, all of a sudden you're just like inundated with orders and you go, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Like how do I do this?" Um and then like I noticed like it started like beginning of March and then mid-February and then like I feel like last year was like January and it was already getting busy.
I feel like it was January 1st.
Yeah. And I'm like, I was
It was
preparing to
like
be able to,
Happy New Year, and then
yeah,
it was all out the door.
your website blows up.
Yeah.
And it's like it makes it hard for us. On one side, on one hand, we're like, yay, people are excited and they're buying and we actually have money coming in because we've been surviving off of savings from last spring. But on the other hand, we're like, oh, I'm still replacing breeders.
Yeah,
Like,
there's definitely anxiety there. It's fun. It's a fun time for sure, and it's
yeah,
an exciting time for sure. Because everybody's excited about new life and new things and
yeah.
trying new things, and that's super exciting. But it definitely it brings some anxiety along with it.
Absolutely. And every order I get, I'm honored. I'm honored that
Yeah,
somebody chose me and my birds, my business to buy from. And that it always makes me happy. So when I talk about the anxiety of a sale coming in, I don't mean it that way. I love it. It's just more along the lines of did I, have I finished replacing my breeders? Do I still need those eggs? I hate making people wait for their
did I make the
orders.
right choices on what lines I increased on for the
Yes.
year?
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, the anxiety of going, did I plan enough? Did I, guess at what was going to be popular this year? There's been times when I've set a whole bunch of a certain line and had a whole bunch of them waiting and then not really had orders for those, but people really wanted this thing over here that I only had one cage full. So,
yeah. I've had that happen too.
yeah, so oh, yeah. Yeah.
So then,
Let's
like
talk.
going into this year, hopefully we mathed right.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so. I've added cages. There I
Same.
did look at, this is the time of the year right now when I'm looking at sales from the previous year and go, okay, I need to make more room. And you can only just fit just so many cages where you're at.
Yeah.
So you start going, okay, I need more cages for this. So what do I need to cut out to get that? And so I'm kind of playing Tetris right now. And there's certain lines that either weren't as popular or weren't my favorite that I might be cutting out.
Right.
Or I see as an opportunity for someone else. That's another thing. I had a very popular line, my Banded Blacks, that I decided to pass on to Mason Fields at Big Spring Quail this year. And I knew that Mason would take them, and he's an amazing breeder, and that he would do them justice.
Right.
And I would rather pass them to him and give him a little boost with his business, and free up a little space on my farm.
Definitely. Yeah. And there's some things I may eventually send out myself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard trying to utilize space in the best way possible. And then the other
still have
problem,
room for projects.
that was what I was about to say. My heart is in projects.
Yeah. Yep,
and
same.
so I'm like, oh gosh, I got to save room for those too.
Yeah. Gotta have space.
And then, we're always working on whatever the new release, excuse me, is. I'm losing my voice. Hold on a second. Go ahead, talk, Leah.
Okay. So yeah, we need like space for, projects. That has to be a thing. It's part of what brings, I know, myself joy, and I'm sure you too, Rebecca.
Yeah.
And figuring out like any new genetics, anything,
Oh, yeah.
or trying to debunk things. I love working on that type of stuff.
That is absolutely true. We used a lot of cage space when we were studying cardoon.
Oh yeah, so much.
Yeah.
Much.
There was all these rabbit holes and then other things that we needed to test.
Well, there's still some rabbit holes in different areas, but yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there's that. So trying to figure out exactly how to utilize the space the best for both your customers and yourself. It's not always easy.
No, it's not. Not at all. And of course, you need the cages for the grow outs for the live birds, and so on and so on and so on.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. So okay, in the spring, we're busy packing orders. So we're not really setting a whole lot of eggs for ourselves.
Yeah, I still set some every week to test fertility, and
Yep.
small batches test fertility, and to have for live sales. But yeah, it's not the numbers like winter.
No. This is the time, spring and summer, when I'm not setting as many eggs, for myself, like for replacing breeders. This is when I start working on projects. And also the time that I, will start hatching out my chickens. I've got a couple of chicken breeds that I've been developing.
More of the chickens than
Yep.
too. Yep.
So, it's like, okay, now I can start shifting my focus just a little bit to start working on some different things.
Yeah. And we also have we have snowflake bob whites. Mm-hmm. So their season is more summer.
Ah, got it.
So we start getting into that in the summer.
So along with looking at incubation, there's a couple other things that we need to look at in the spring, for, not so much you and I think we've predator proofed pretty well, but for other people,
that's something that needs to be in consideration for sure.
Yep. Spring is when all the wildlife are having babies. Yep. And those babies need to be fed.
And quail are tasty.
Yep. So this is the time of the year that people need to think even harder. I think you should be thinking about predation year round.
Yes.
But you really want to go through and make sure that your wire is secure, that your electric fence is working. Like, check all the things. And we did an entire show. It was a really great show on predators, and how to protect your birds. So probably, that's a good time to watch that show and
Yes.
go through and check off, make sure that you're secure, because this is the time when you see an uptick in that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we meant to mention this, unless I jumped ahead of you, but bird flu.
Yep, exactly. That's a seasonal thing too.
Yeah.
We should talk about why. Why is avian influenza seasonal?
So it's because of the migration,
Yep.
basically. So we start seeing it in Florida now if it's going to start occurring, and then as things warm up and the birds start heading back north, you'll start seeing the trend come from it'll be the more southern states before the more northern states.
Yep, exactly. So we don't really see an uptick in avian influenza for a little bit longer. It's almost January 1st here, and it'll be a little bit longer. But with you being further south, you see it before we do.
Right. Yep.
So, and then I would imagine in the fall, we probably see it before you do because they're all heading back down south.
Yes. Yep. And then they just
So,
hang out down here. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So that's a good time, to really pay attention to your biosecurity,
Yes.
and really be careful with that because
For today. Um, so I have to do things a little bit differently than some people will, just because we have hurricane season
yep,
and heat, crazy
yep,
heat. So I actually do some bigger hatches at the very beginning of summer in June and July. And then I really cut back in September and August, September, and October.
and that is because you don't want to risk power outages
And
from
losing hundreds and
hurricanes.
thousands.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Because unfortunately, been there, done that.
yeah, yeah. So you kind of have to plan ahead and get a lot of your incubation and brooding
Yeah.
done so
We
you don't have to
still
worry about
hatch
that.
during that time, but I cut it way back.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's rough. Um, so for us, it's the summer heat, which we actually, again, a lot of these subjects we have videos on. We have one about heat and how to keep your
Yep.
quail cool. Um, Flies, it's major fly season in the summer for us, but you
Always flies,
you kind of have always flies, right?
except for today.
So I found a cool thing. I'm going to give props to Jennifer at Bryant's Roost for this one. A magnetic screen door, like automatic, it just like folds back on itself. And so you can walk through it and it just closes. That I have put across both of my entrances. I have a back door and a front door. And that cut down on the amount of flies in my quail barn so much.
So I actually, Michael introduced me to a product that I get here locally called, I think it's PC Alpine. I'm going to look it up and get the exact name.
Okay.
But it's a spray, and I spray it. You can't spray it near on the birds.
Okay.
But you can, I spray it on all the walls, the doors, everything like that. And when the flies land on it, they literally are gone.
Cool.
And my fly population went down to 10%.
Nice.
Just from that spray. And what was nice about that spray, because we're humid and things don't last very long, but I can spray that spray and I get a good 3 or 4 weeks out of it.
Oh, wow. So that's, before I was using the screens, I had a major fly problem in the quail barn. Oh gosh, it was so bad. And I would use Electra PSP. And that I would spray on everything. You can spray it even on the birds. You can just, it's like
Yeah,
all the
I'm looking
cages,
this
all
up
this.
while you're talking because I need
Yeah,
to like tell people what this is because it's magic.
it was great, but there's really not a whole lot of residual effect to electro PSP. Like by the next day, the flies are landing in those areas, and it's no big deal. I
Yeah,
mean, it's good for
so
knocking them off, but
okay, yeah. It's called PT Alpine
okay,
fly bait.
cool.
And yeah, it has a residual. Again, you don't want to spray it like on or near the birds. It needs to be away from the birds. But it has an attractant in it that, will bring the flies will go to it. And it literally, it's pretty instant.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I might have to try that, kind of on the outdoor we have that entrance way before you get to the quail barn. I might have to try that next year.
You need to, for real.
Yeah. So we've had good luck with, like outside with the hanging bags. Have you seen those that you fill with water and it's got like
Yeah, so
hormone
I've done
attractant?
those
Yep.
and I think they're amazing, but we have so much
They
just
just
because we're in
fill
Florida
up.
and yeah, it doesn't put a dent because it's
Yeah.
full.
They also
And
get really stinky.
they get really bad,
So
stinky,
stinky.
very quickly. Yeah, yeah,
So you have to put those in areas that you're not going to be in a whole lot.
yeah.
Um, and then we've also used fly strips inside, like the hanging sticky ones. And that actually
Those are great too, but again, they fill up really
too
fast.
many. Yeah. So for us, it worked great this year.
Or if you have say a quail gets out and gets on the sticky trap.
Oh yeah, ours were all hanging from like the ceiling, so they didn't have access to it unless it was like parkour being crazy flying around. But
You sometimes have someone go crazy. I'm just saying,
yeah.
I've seen people with pictures with
Oh no.
straps. Yeah, and yeah,
I luckily haven't had that problem yet, but for me, just the combination of that, the screen flap and a few of the little hanging fly traps were great for me this year. That the screen door, like, oh my gosh,
that's
that
great. I might have to invest in one of those.
it's great because it's magnetic closing, so you can just walk through it and it
Yeah,
just closes behind you immediately, and oh, it made all the difference. It was
cool.
huge. So
Yeah, anything to keep the flies at bay, I'm all for.
yes. So as we mentioned before, this is the time of the year that I'm working on projects because my incubator
Yeah,
is a little bit more empty, and this is the time of the year that I am just going crazy having fun.
yep. That's when. Yeah, I do less because of the hurricanes, like those few months, but it's still what my primary focus is.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, I still am hatching a little bit of projects throughout the year
Yeah.
because I can't not do projects. It's my heart
Mhm.
and my soul. But this is the time that I really can have fun because I have a little bit more brooder space, a little bit more incubator space.
Yeah, same. And then, are we moving on to fall?
I think the only other thing that we had talked about is this is the time that we're also setting eggs for live bird sales in the fall.
Yes, for the fall. So the
Yeah,
prerequisite. Yep.
yeah. So, I don't like to ship live birds in the summer. It's just too hot for them. So, I plan, to hatch out live birds, for spring sales and then again in fall. So this is the time, in the summer, I am putting eggs in the incubator to be able to ship fall birds.
Yep.
So, and then you had mentioned about humidity and it kind of changes your incubation just a little bit.
Yeah, so I really have to actually when we get cold, even though people are gonna laugh that I said cold. When we get cold like we are today, we have a huge humidity shift. And then in the summer we're always humid, always. So
Right.
like in the summer, I don't even bother adding water to my incubators because we just have enough humidity here that I really don't need to do that. But in the winter, I do.
And that's
That's
something,
really different.
the whole dry hatching thing is really big right now. Um, and I will dry incubate. I don't really dry hatch because I do tend to need a little bit more humidity at lockdown. But it's in and so I'm not anti dry dry hatch or dry incubation or whatever. Um, but it is important to know your area and what
Yes.
your ambient humidity is. It doesn't work for everyone.
No, it does not. So, and that's the thing. Like, I'm in a humid space. I look at the weather and the humidity pretty much daily. Um, yeah, it's best, honestly, if you have like questions specific to your areas to find someone who's been successful in your area. What kind of humidity range are they running with?
Yep, exactly. Okay, so moving on to fall.
Yes, fall. I get excited when fall comes.
So in the fall, in the summer, there's usually kind of a slump in sales.
Yep.
We
It's
talked
too
about
hot.
that
Yeah.
seasonality, and then there's like a little mini bump in the fall.
Yeah. Um, so we'll see a little bit of an increase in sales during that time. Shipping birds at that time. I usually have a lot more live local pickups at that time.
Yep,
Um, I'm just starting to, hatch for replacements. Not a whole lot, but some. Still working projects
yep,
and just kind of like deciding what projects I want to complete before the new year comes.
exactly. Yeah, this is also the time, like you said about projects. This is where I'm looking at projects and going, are these ready for me to release in the spring? And if so, then we need to start hatching
Yeah.
so we can, fill up enough breeders to meet that demand for a new release. Or am I going to continue working on them? Because gosh, a lot of my projects take years before I actually release them. And so I'm really taking a close look at them to see, like, do I really need to start pushing them, or am I going to back off a little bit and wait?
Right, right.
Um, and then for us, this is the time when HPAI, avian influenza, starts rearing its head again.
Right, right.
So, um, and I guess we should probably also mention this is the time of the year when you start seeing people go, "Why are my quail aren't laying or not laying?"
Yes. We have episodes on that.
Yes.
Um, it has to do with the natural shift in light, and how their body reacts to it, causes hormonal changes. So, and then they don't lay as much because it's telling their body, hey, it's time to quit laying. We're getting ready for winter.
Yep. Days are getting shorter. The
Yep.
amount of light.
Yep. So if you don't have your quail on light and you're expecting eggs, they'll need to be on lights.
Yep.
But it's okay to give them that natural break.
Yep. And as breeders, that's something we have to plan for, because if you are still selling eggs and stuff, and or that could be eating eggs, that could be hatching eggs, whatever. If you have customers that are expecting those things and you forget to start supplementing, doing supplemental lighting, then suddenly you don't have eggs.
Yeah, and then it takes time if you do put them on lights for them to get going again, getting the fertility back, and that could put you in a bind.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other thing that light influences is the molt.
Yes.
So if you don't stay on top of the lighting, then they go into a molt, and then you don't have eggs because they're molting. So
Yeah, and generally, I mean, for quail, it's like a 2 or 3 week thing. I
yeah.
would say roughly before they're like back in the groove and feeling good again.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with if you decide, you know what, I want my quail to live a more natural life and they can go through the molt and they can stop laying in the winter. That's fine. Just be aware that that's going to happen and plan your business around that.
Yes. Yeah, it's completely okay to do that. And that's just what I tell people too is just, if you're going to let them rest, just know you're not going to get eggs. And that's just how it's going to be.
Yep. Yep. Lots of posts about freeloaders that time of the year, but it's
Yeah.
natural. It's
It's very, very natural. Everybody wants a break. That's why.
Yep. Yep. And that is a decision as a breeder that you have to decide which you're going to do. For us, we turn on the lights and use that time to replace our breeders, and it brings us back into winter.
Yeah. And we start all over again.
Okay, so before we finish up here, we did have some questions that were posed by some of our fans. So let's take a look at some of these. Michael Luck wants to know, how do you decide on a specific breeding program?
There's actually a lot of involvement with that.
Yeah.
It really depends where you're at with a specific line of birds.
Mm-hmm.
Are you at the very beginning of it, or are you closer to the end? So they could get set up multiple ways.
Yep.
We could do a whole show just on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I wasn't sure if Michael was asking like the type of breeding, like as far as colony or
like
spiral breeding or whatever, or how do we decide on like a project program?
Right.
So let's talk about both.
Okay.
Because I'm not really sure. Because initially,
I could do a whole show on just projects.
Yeah.
That's part of the issue. Like, my projects usually start small and they stay kind of small for a while before I actually grow them.
Yeah.
So I use much smaller space than I tend to do with like a line that is where I want it to be.
Yep. And for me, a couple of things happen. One, so my projects kind of fall into three categories. I have oh, wow, what is this? I need to study this. I need to look at this. I'll have something pop up that I'm just like, I don't know what this is. Sometimes there's like a spontaneous, something that you're just like, this is weird. I've never seen this before. Because both of us are pretty good at keeping track of our birds and knowing, like not getting lines mixed. Right. So normally it's very predictable what's going to hatch and what's going to grow out. And sometimes you get this oddball and you're like, what? How? What is this?
Yeah, and the more chicks you hatch, the more like opportunities for odd things to pop up.
Yes. Genetic mutations that happen, or, something that has been a recessive that's been hiding for a long time. And you're like, how did I not see this before?
Yeah, where did this come from?
So that always turns into a project for me because I must know. Yeah. And let's see, another one would be studying something, like we did with American Pansy. That's something that had been around forever, but nobody had actually taken the time to like study it and dive in.
Yeah, and I took some different approaches than I know you did, and even Jen did, to get to the conclusion. And I'm still testing stuff. I know you still are too. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, there's a lot of cage space.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think the other thing is the I wonder what category.
Yes, especially
I wonder what this looks like.
Yeah, or I wonder how this will look like with this.
Yeah. And so we, sometimes they turn out and you go, that
was not what I was picturing at all.
Darn it. And sometimes you're like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever.
More.
Yeah. And then, okay, so back to the flip side, I think that was kind of where you took the question of how do you know what type of breeding program that you're going to be doing as far as spiral breeding or, colony breeding or anything like that?
Yeah, so most of I have the 5-tier stacks, and I have like small colonies basically set in.
Yep.
most of them. Yeah.
Yep. Same. I usually, if I'm working on a project, I start really small. And I want a small group of birds and try to get uh, get them all kind of to a standard size, not standard as in, oh gosh, I can't speak tonight. I am so, like out of it with this cold. I mean, like consistency. That's what I mean. Not standard
You want
versus
them to be
jumbo.
fairly predictable.
Exactly. And then I'll start growing that. But this is where I'm going to plug Quailology a little bit. We've done a whole show on it with Michael Rose, but if you want to learn more about how to work a breeding program from start to finish, that is a really good place to do that.
Yeah, he goes into a lot of depth on different ways to, set up a project.
Yep.
First, like depending on where you're starting at, and how to get to the end result. So, yeah, it has such great information.
Absolutely. And not just projects, how to maintain breeding stock. Let's say
Oh yeah,
somebody,
there's tons of information. Yeah,
has, because, we talk a lot about projects, but a lot of what I do is maintaining really great lines that have gotten to a point that I really like. And yes, I want to move forward with every generation, but, with certain lines, I'm not hatching every week and trying to improve them every week like I am with my projects.
right.
So when I have a project, I'm hatching all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. Okay, Kathy has a number of really good questions for us. Kathy wants to know, how many cages do you have per line? So that's the first question.
That actually depends on how many I'm deciding to carry for the year.
Uh-huh.
Like of a variety. Yeah, independent, and that will base on how many eggs I offer out for people to order as well.
Yep.
So hopefully that's how I took that question. So if there's something I know is popular or does well, or I'm anticipating that it will do well, I'll set aside more cage space and like that colony style for that line versus something else. I'll keep a much smaller population.
Exactly. For me too, it also depends on if it's a project, where I am in that project. Like we just talked about, I usually start really small. Sometimes, it's just one of those GQF, or like, some people use
like the
hatching
little,
times.
the little hatching time.
One little cube. Yeah.
Or it could be the whole thing. So, yeah.
So, and then build from there. I mean, I've started a line with just 2 birds before. And then, all the way up to some of my lines, like you said, with demand, I'm hoping to have 500 jumbo browns this year. So, I definitely don't have that many of, projects. So.
Yeah. I mean, definitely like some projects are just a few birds, and then some lines, hundreds. So
yeah,
it really depends on each variety in particular and what our plans or goals for them are.
How many cages we can,
how much
spare.
Yeah.
And then a follow-up is, how many birds are in each cage?
So, let's see. So if it's like the full section, usually have about 15 in there.
Mm-hmm.
I would say roughly, yeah.
Yeah, it just depends for me. My cages will hold, depending on the size of the bird, 16 to 20 birds per cage. And so, yeah, I'll usually fill that up, unless it's a project or, something that I don't need as many, if it's, not as a, popular line. Like I don't need 500 cinnamons. I keep a small number of cinnamon. I don't sell many of those.
Yeah.
So
And
sometimes
yeah, a
I'll
lot
even,
of things I'll keep small groups of because it's either something I want to come back to or
yeah,
it's something I don't want to lose. I at least want the genetics there for it. So
absolutely.
yeah, it really
Absolutely.
depends.
Um,
That again could probably be another whole show.
somebody wants, or Kathy wants to know, how many quail do you have at any one time?
It fluctuates.
Yeah,
It
throughout the year.
does. I mean, I have my largest numbers going into spring,
Hmm.
and then just the flows of the year. Kind of like there's an uptick in spring that'll be the most of my birds. I'll start lessening in the summer, another uptick in fall, and then we switch everybody out.
Yep. Yep. Um, same. Absolutely. And I know Kathy is probably looking for a little bit more of a numbers thing. I'll share mine. You don't necessarily have to share yours, but
I'm much
at the
smaller than Rebecca.
yeah, at the busiest time going into spring, I'll probably be looking at about 4,000 birds.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking probably at 1,200.
yeah. So and then it starts to taper off from there.
Yeah.
Um, and then Kathy wants to know, what percent protein do we feed our breeders?
Okay. So, and I see so much online all over the place, all different opinions. I will tell you what works for me. Um, and I did kind of go by Jeff's recommendations from
Hmm.
some of our prior videos. So I feed Kalmbach. It's the pheasant turkey gamer starter. I feed that to the babies. They get that till 4 weeks old. At 4 weeks, they get switched over to Kalmbach 22% mini pellet, and it's a layer feed. But I switched them at that time because I feel, and I could be wrong, but I feel like they could utilize the extra calcium for growth, not just eggshells, but for growth.
Got it.
They're still getting the protein requirements that Jeff had recommended.
Yep. Well, and Jeff does recommend switching to a grower and, like starting to taper off on that protein. So that sounds like it's kind of in line with that a little bit.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling with it, and that's what I have available like locally. And I really feel like that brand of feed has a better amino acid profile than some other brands that I've looked at. And my birds
Yeah,
have thrived on it. And my birds, that's once they get switched to that, that's what they're on for
got
the
it.
rest of their lives.
And that's the big thing is, that your birds are doing really well on it. If they weren't, you would change it. You'd do something differently.
Yeah, I definitely, and that's one of the first things like I'd look into is the nutrition aspect if I was having issues,
Yep.
because nutrition's huge.
Huge, huge. So for me, I feed 28% turkey and game bird starter from Kalmbach. And I feed that until they start laying. And then I swap them over. I was feeding 17% Kalmbach layer crumbles, like just chicken layer crumbles, because I didn't really have access to, I would have preferred some higher protein, but I had to go with the lower protein, with being Kalmbach. It was, fairly decent amino acids, because I didn't really have access to anything else. Since then, I've actually recently been talking with Kalmbach, and this is something I can do, because I do have more birds and I feed
Yeah,
more feed. But they are making a custom feed for me for it's a breeder mix using Jeff's recommendations
I'm
for
excited to
nutrition.
hear about how that goes.
Yeah, I'm super, super excited. And the only way I'm able to do this really, I mean, like Kalmbach is open to, like, if somebody else wanted to do this, they certainly could, but you have to buy 3 tons at a time. And we go through about a ton a week. So we can
You're
do that.
good then. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can do that. But that is an entire pallet of feed a week. And our local feed store is willing to store the other 2 pallets because we don't really have room for storage.
Right.
So I can do that, but it's not
Yeah,
always an
someone
option.
a smaller, yeah, a smaller setup is not as usually
Yeah.
capable.
Yeah. So I made a post on Facebook about that the other day, and people got really excited and, going, "Oh, when's this going to be available?" And
Yeah.
I don't think, Kalmbach is necessarily going to start stocking it and all this. There's a lot of logistics to adding another feed to what they offer. So I think right now it's probably going to be just a custom feed for us. So
Yeah, that's cool though. It's cool
it
that
is.
they're at least working with you, and at least you could trial it and see
Yeah.
how it goes.
And maybe if I have, maybe I can have some talks with them later on and go, this is really awesome. People really want to try it. Who
Yeah,
knows?
that would be
Um,
super cool.
yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited about it. Okay, Kathy has a lot of really great questions. Her next one is, what do you do with all the poop?
Poop. Okay, so we compost ours. That is primarily what we do with it. It goes to be composted and then it gets used in the garden.
So for us, we have a little bit different situation because like 4,000 birds creates a lot of poop, a lot, so much. And we didn't start out with 4,000 birds, so we used to compost it and we used to, kind of put it in a pile and just let it break down and stuff. But it got to the point where that was kind of disruptive because it smelled really bad and created a lot of flies.
Yeah.
We just couldn't compost it fast enough. We had so many of them.
See, that's the
So much
only
of it.
good thing about Florida, I have to say, because we're so hot. Things like they break down super fast.
Oh yeah, and we have like natural black soldier flies that would get into it and break it down, but still, when the wind changed direction, it got bad. It was kind of bad. So Frank, my husband, decided to make a machine, and Frank is really handy and really smart, and he makes things. And I don't know how he did this, but he created this really awesome machine that dehydrates poop.
Yeah,
And
if it's
so
dehydrated, it doesn't smell
it
anymore.
doesn't smell as bad. It helps remove some of that ammonia, and I think we're going to be able to use it sooner. So we've actually been dehydrating poop, and he does this throughout the week because we clean multiple times a week, and so every time we do, he fires up his poop machine and dehydrates the poop, and then we've been putting it in our raised garden beds, and sometimes we just like have excess and we put it in a pile in a spot on our property. At some point I think we're going to get it tested for its like nutrient levels. That's not quite the word for it because it's not food, but you know what I'm talking about.
Analysis.
Yeah, there we go. Get an analysis on it and then potentially bag it up and sell it. But yeah, we had to come up with something because we just had an excessive amount of poop.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be a plan for the poop.
And you actually did a show on different things you could do with poop, didn't you?
Well, it was different things you could do in the garden, like with the whole bird.
Got it.
So yeah, but definitely there was poop talk.
Got it. Okay. So thank you, Kathy, for so many great questions. Let's go down to Jell wants to know if you misjudge demand, what steps do you take to pivot and how do you get back to market quickly?
This could be. It depends how. Well, so for myself, I decided to hatch some more stuff out in the summer. Because I had a few things that I was not expecting the demand to have that I had.
Yep.
And going into this year, hopefully I've planned better for it. But it's kind of hard to decide like how to pivot sometimes because if you're in the middle of spring season, if you take the time to pull eggs back for yourself, hatch them, you've still got 6 weeks before once they hatch, 6 weeks before they're even ready, and you're already past season.
Yep.
At that point. So basically, I try to let people know that hey, there's a wait. Here's how long the wait is. Just doing the best I can.
Yep. That's what I ran into this past summer. Or this past year, spring. I completely misjudged how popular my jumbo celadon new release was going to be, and I did not have nearly the breeders that I should have had. I thought I was set. I had a lot of breeders, and then I was faced with that. Do I stop in the middle of the busiest season when all these orders need to go out and hatch those eggs out? And like you said, it takes a while for them to grow out and stuff. Or do you just try to grin and bear it and get through the busy season? And that's what I did. I thought, well, for sure, I'm going to stop getting orders for these. It's going to slow down and I'll catch up and everything will be fine. But I kept getting more orders. And so I just had to write on my website and be honest with the wait time. Unfortunately, I misjudged that too sometimes. So, it's hard to estimate when you have a
Yeah.
lot of orders how long it's going to take.
Yeah, it's yeah, when we give estimates, it's our best prediction.
Yep.
Like that is what it is. And with how life is in general, things decide to go in their own way.
Oh yeah.
Murphy's Law will come in anytime and just skew everything that you have planned.
Yeah, I face that. It's like how it was really hard for me to make estimates for a lot of reasons. One is it's hard to know exactly how many shippable eggs you're going to have. It never
Right.
fails. You'd be like, oh, this is the perfect egg to finish up this order. And you turn it over and there's a peck mark in it. It's like,
Yeah, or you're grabbing that last one and you accidentally drop it.
yeah, absolutely. And then it's hard when you have multiple orders that order multiple varieties because you're like, okay, well, this order is ready to go out. Oh, wait, they ordered this variety and other people are waiting for that variety, and trying to juggle and figure out which ones to ship in the correct order. Because I always want to be fair. I don't
Yeah.
ever want to put somebody ahead of somebody who's been waiting. So that was kind of hard. And then I will get to an order and then realize that they purchased more of that like later on. And I'm like, oh crap, I was thinking I was going to ship 12 eggs and now they added another 40 eggs to that.
Right.
So that's kind of hard to judge. And then for me, life happened. This past year, I had pneumonia twice. We had a flood. We had our AC go out. I had COVID. And that all changed everything. So it's
Yeah, I
hard.
mean, yeah, we unfortunately lost someone, and then getting sick, and yeah, just life. I've got kids here; things happen with them, so
Yep.
yeah, you never know. And then of course the year prior, natural disaster. So yeah, you just never know how things are going to play out, and all you can do is the best that you can do.
Yep. Exactly. One thing that I think I think it's kind of hard sometimes. We live in a very Amazon um, environment now where we're used to you click on it and it ships the next day and then you have it. And it's coming from a big company where there are multiple people that can fill that order, or sometimes robots. Like
Yeah,
um,
yep,
for me here, and I know it's the same for you. It's me filling the orders.
yep, it's
Um,
me.
and so if something happens and I'm sick, or, in your case, you lose somebody that's important to you, um, we're not able to just have somebody else fill the orders.
Right.
And so, stuff happens. And sometimes we misjudge how many eggs we have. Sometimes the birds don't cooperate and don't lay as many eggs as we need. And sometimes we just get sick, or just, have to take a breather.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what a day off or a vacation is. So
Well, my day off, I came to visit you, so
that's true. Yeah, you had a working day off.
yeah.
Um, but that's something to keep in mind. Is that we are people. We're very, very small business. Um, and I want to thank all of you who have been patient when I didn't estimate correctly or didn't set the right number of breeders. So
Yeah, I have to say a majority of anyone who's ordered for myself and hopefully same for you, Rebecca, has been just awesome.
oh yeah, I'm very
Awesome.
grateful. Very
Yeah.
grateful. So, and then on top of that, throw in, shipping mishaps and stuff like
Yes. All the mishaps.
that. That was something else that was a factor for me. This year I offered shipping insurance, and that was through myself.
Yeah.
It's not an add-on through USPS or anything like that. And so I guarantee that if an order takes more than 7 days to arrive or gets lost, that I'm going to reship your order as soon as absolutely possible. Well, that's great. And I love that for customer service. But it also means if I estimated, if somebody asks, when is my order going to ship? And then I get a couple of these that I have to reship, that pushes things back too.
Right.
So there's something, always something.
Yeah. Yeah. I have, yeah, we both have plenty of stories. That
Yep.
could be another entire show.
We have so much fodder for future shows. um, Micro Raptors Farm wants to know, what does a day in the life of us look like?
Oh gosh, that's like a whole other show.
I know.
We just need to film. We need to film a day in the life.
We do. We should.
I think we should.
I think we should. Okay, Eli, we're gonna do that. We're gonna
We
do a
got
date.
we got some stuff coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good question. We'll do a show for you. Um, and then Mason wanted to know, what are the stages of your year broken up into? And I think we actually did the entire show on this.
We just did that.
We did it. We did it just for you, Mason. The
Yep.
entire show. And that is the last of our questions.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I had fun.
Yeah, me too.
I love the questions. Make sure you guys keep them coming.
Yes, please, reach out. Let us know what you want to hear about, what you want to learn. Let's do it.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Have a great night.
Bye.